Kickoff for the 2025 college football season is just around the corner, and these are my best and worst case scenarios for the Mississippi State Bulldogs this season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, where we get your podcasts. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we're powered by our friends over at FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FANDUEL.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. Year one of the Jeff Lebby era in Starkville, it was shaky to say the very least. Year two, will it be more promising or will it be more of the same? Today, we're discussing my best and worst case scenarios for Hail State this upcoming season. And guys, no, these are not predictions. This is simply my ceiling and floor for the Bulldogs as I see it entering the 2025 season. With that being said, guys, let's pull up the schedule first, because the schedule obviously goes a long way in determining what your ceiling and your floor is, because we all know there's no such thing as an easy SEC schedule, and not all SEC schedules are built equally. And as we look at Mississippi State's schedule, my goodness, I don't know what the Dogs did to the football gods, but just like last year, this schedule is brutal. You open up at Southern Miss in Hattiesburg. I'll tell you this is one Jeff Lebby's got to win. I think us and some others, and I think people are going to have a lot of fun talking about this one from the standpoint of, is the upset possible? And you got to win this one if you're Jeff Lebby. You just, listen, coming off a season where you didn't win a conference game and you got blown out by Toledo, and I get it. What you took over, it was a really, really difficult situation. But you can't lose this game to start of the year. Folks in the state of Mississippi are not going to take too kindly to losing to the Golden Eagles. This will be a really fun baseball game, too. We've seen this game during baseball season all the time. But you shouldn't lose to Southern Miss in football if you're Mississippi State. So a huge game out of the gate. Then week two, you got Arizona State coming to your place, who made the college ball playoff a season ago. They got Sam Leavitt back at quarterback. That one's going to be really tough. You get Alcorn State in week three, Northern Illinois in week four, a Northern Illinois team that beat Notre Dame last year. Now, granted, do they have that same squad back? I don't know, and I don't think so, but still, not a walk in the park if you're Mississippi State. Then conference play gets underway. You take on Tennessee. You go to Texas A&M. You go to Florida after a bye week. Then you get Texas at home. Then you're at Arkansas. You got Georgia at home. You're at Mizzou. And after a bye week, finally, you take on Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl at home to cap off the season. Guys, if you could not tell from me reading off that schedule, the home slate, I mean, this entire slate is crazy, but the home slate is ridiculous. I mean, it's flat out ridiculous. Arizona State at home, Tennessee at home, Texas at home, Georgia at home, and Ole Miss at home. Guys, you might be playing 1, 2, 3. You could be playing 4 college football playoff teams. Not just contenders, but teams. If State, Georgia, Texas, and maybe even Ole Miss make it to the playoff. I mean, but with that being said, you got to show improvement, right? You got to be able to show improvement if you're Jeff Lebby. So what does that look like? What realistically are the best and worst case scenarios for this upcoming season? Guys, my best case scenario, I've got 6-6. I think all things clicking, you get to a bowl game. Listen, you got to be realistic. It's going to take, if they give him the time, it's going to take Jeff Lebby probably 2 to 3 more years. I'd probably say at least 2 years to really field a roster that can compete, not just in this conference, with the type of schedule they are facing on a yearly basis. In my best case scenario, I think you've got one of the best rushing attacks in the SEC. I do think it's a rushing attack that's very underrated with Devon Booth being back, and you added the other kid, the transfer who slips my mind. But you could have one of the best 1-2 punches in the entire conference. You might lead the SEC in rushing in a best case scenario. Blake Shapen returning from injury, being that dude under center, coming back, being as good as he's been. Obviously, you want to make sure he's healthy, number one. Number two, just returning to form. I do think Blake Shapen can be a really solid player in this league. Finding some guys on the outside that step up and emerge. The passing game gets going to complement the running game. But all in all, you have a balanced offense that is one of the better offenses in the league in a best-case scenario. And defensively, guys, you just have a pulse. I mean, Coleman Hutzler's defense was abysmal a season ago. I thought they should have cut ties with him, but they bring him back. The defense doesn't have to be great to go 6-6, but it's got to be a lot better. At times, you couldn't stop a freaking nosebleed at times last year. Best case 6-6, those things I just mentioned need to happen, especially like I mentioned, the defensive side. You got to be better on defense and offensively. Kind of just live up to some of the hype and the expectations. Like, I think this offense can actually be pretty solid with a healthy Blake Shapen and with that running game I talked about. Worst case, and by the way, in a best case, you are going 3-1 at minimum in non-conference play. Because you look at the schedule, where are the 3 SEC wins? That's the tough part about this. Where are the 3 SEC wins? 6-6 might even be a little overly aggressive. And I'm not saying this to pick on Mississippi State or be funny. It's just the reality. With the schedule and with the personnel, I think it's just the reality. Like, I think certainly you could beat, as we go back to the schedule, if you go 4-0 in non-conference, maybe Tennessee's an upset. Hey, if you're 4-0 with Tennessee coming to town, hey, all bets are off, right? Maybe Arkansas you can beat. Maybe Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. Maybe Mizzou. Maybe Mizzou takes that big of a step back. So, getting 3 conference wins, well, it's not likely. I think it's possible. I think my best case, 6-6. I think that's fair. Worst case, I've got 3-9. And guys, the path to that is very simple, right? You go 3-1 in non-conference. You lose that game to Arizona State. And you go winless in SEC play again. Guys, listen, it's going winless in SEC play. Very, very doable. Very doable. What if Arkansas has actually got a squad this year? You got to go to Arkansas, by the way, right? You got to go to Missouri. So even if they take a step back, you got to go on the road and win that one. I think Ole Miss is still going to be pretty solid. You get them at home and it's the Egg Bowl, but I think Ole Miss is still probably going to be pretty solid. I mentioned Tennessee as a potential upset. You do get them at home, but they've still got far more talent than you have. You're not beating Georgia. You're not beating Texas. You're probably not winning at A&M. You're probably not winning at Florida. So, the pickings are going to be slim in regards to, I think, pulling upsets. Granted, it's college football. You never know. I could be dead wrong on those games I just mentioned, but realistically, again, worst case for me, I go 3-9. It's another season in which, Blake Shapen maybe coming off the injury is not quite the same. The running game doesn't get going quite the way we think it should behind that offensive line. You have a lack of playmakers on the outside. And defensively, guys, the defense is just abysmal again. And really, truly, even if the offense is solid, if the defense is what it was last year, you probably are going 3-9. Because, again, you literally could not stop anyone. Couldn't stop a nosebleed. Really, truly couldn't. So if the defense doesn't take a step forward, I think that worst case is very, very much in play. So, guys, again, when you look at the schedule, when you look at the personnel, I'm going best case 6-6, worst case 3-9. What's your best case, worst case for the Mississippi State Bulldogs this season? And do you agree or disagree with my assessment? Guys, that's all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, I do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we're brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Guys, make sure today you go sign up at FanDuel.com/SECU to get your $250 deposit bonus when you win your first $5 bet. Guys, you can bet on literally anything and everything. College football is just around the corner, of course. College basketball will be here before you know it. The NFL is about to start. NHL, NBA, MLB's in full swing. You can bet on fight night. They got props. They got parlays. They got totals. They got spreads. They got futures. Everything you can think of, they've got it over at FanDuel. So make sure you're in on the action over at FanDuel.com/SECU. That's FanDuel.com/SECU to get your $250 deposit bonus today when you win your first $5 bet. Guys, as always, appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast. If you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. Till next time, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we will catch you on the other side.